Hi, my name is Vic Tham. Welcome to this session. I have to start by saying I was set up. I did not know I was speaking till probably last week. I didn't choose this topic either, right? But since we are here, I will try to make it more relaxed and please ask questions during my presentation, okay? I have never rehearsed this, so I have no idea how long I'm going to speak. Okay, so hopefully someone will just show me a sign when I talk too much. Okay, so relaxed atmosphere. I'm going to talk about three things. I left banking about 2.5 months ago, and people have been asking me this question about why did I join a blockchain company. So I thought we'll talk about this. Why did a traditional banker like me in the industry for over 30 years has decided to join the blockchain company, talk a little bit about blockchain, talk a little bit about my role in a blockchain company as the chief investment officer. Okay, I am pleasantly surprised. I didn't know so many people are going to attend. I thought here right in the corner next to the food, right? But thank you for attending. Please ask questions. I want to talk about this first by starting with this, right? I have worked for 31 years. I used to have a lot of hair when I started. This is how I ended up after being a chief risk officer. In the span of this, I have worked in the securities industry. I mean, you see some companies there. Jardine Fleming does not exist anymore, bought up by JP Morgan, right? The last securities firm I ever worked for was Morgan Stanley, right? And then I went to the exchange. I was the chief risk officer there at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. I had also worked for some local companies, DBS, Standard Chartered. My last role, 2.5 months ago, I was the chief operating officer for Asia Pacific for transaction banking at Bank America. That's when I moved to the tech side. So my career has been in securities and banking, and now I'm moving into the tech side. Not trying to look like a tech guy, but at least I can present in jeans. They told me I can present in jeans and wear a black t-shirt. That's why I come to the tech industry, right? But my role here is really about fund management, working with the tech people, and this is what I am going to present on, because there are very few companies that I know today that can say that we manage funds and we also have a back-end technology group to evaluate this funds that we manage. So I'll start by talking a little bit about the experiences I have in the past 30 years. Okay, if you look at the right side of the screen, you will see these are the crises I've been through the last 30 years. 10 of them. I highlighted the ones that are most crucial to me, the red ones. Okay, the ones that scared the daily lights of me, right? I won't go through every one, but I think dot-com bubble comes in play. Dot-com, that time, as you know, the birth of the internet, anything dot-com had a fantastic valuation. Then it all crashed. A lot crashed, but also came the Googles and the Amazons and all that, right? SARS was scary for me. People dare not go out. Prices of property, I'm a avid property investor, kept dropping. Very scary time for me. But the most scary is 2007, 2008, where we had the Lehman collapse on 2008. That time, that date, I will probably never forget for the rest of my life. 2008, September 15, the day Lehman filed for bankruptcy. Why I cannot forget that day? That's also the day my wife started a new job in Credit Suisse as a product controller, right? She came back that day and said, I don't want to work anymore. That was her first day. But she lasted 2 years plus in there. My wife is not here, so I can say anything I want. Okay, but that's the day. 2008, September 2008, 2008, okay? When things started crashing down. That's when I wonder, and you'll see it at my presentation, is I wonder what we start thinking in the world is what an asset really means at that time. I have an MBA in finance. I was trained to think you lend money, you get collateral. But that is the time when you wonder if your house is called a collateral, right? So I start by this slide as well. It's the time change. Now, I put it only in 3 categories, okay? It's not intended to be scientific. It's really just to give you an illustration. Remember the days when I started, the mails and letters? When I graduated, there was no email. I had to type a letter, send it to a potential employer with my CV, and give them a call and hope they will give me an interview. There was no email. That's what I went through, right? The days of telexes, floppy disks were there. I'm just telling you my age, clearly, right? So then there came this category. Of course, you got email now, you got e-commerce now, and look down here, mobile phone. I got my first mobile phone in year 2000, Y2K. Those of you who are old enough to know what I'm talking about, Y2K is probably the biggest scam in the IT technology. They just said 2000, all the 3 zeros will lock up and things will blow up. Nothing blew up. Maybe we have to wait for year 3000. I won't be around anymore at that time. But that's when I got my first mobile phone. Why? Because they said, I was in Morgan Stanley at that time. They said, you must do the BCP test. We need to call you. So they gave me a phone. That was my first mobile phone. Today, everybody has a smartphone. Everybody here has a smartphone. I'll be surprised if nobody has that. And if you notice, literally, most things today are built on the smartphone. This third category is where we are in this era. There's a lot of buzz on all these 4 things, from cloud, AI, blockchain, and machine learning. Not going to dwell on this, but this is the era we're in. Okay? That I'm just trying to show here is to make a point on the sea change that I have witnessed, and I hope you guys will be witnessing as well as we move forward. Touching on the exchange, the way we exchange goods, right? We are still using banknotes and coins today, right? We have moved into credit cards. We have moved literally into mobile payments. Like I said, a lot of things today are on the phone. Mobile payments are moved on the phone. We are moving towards a cashless society. Question mark is cryptocurrency going to come in play? Right? This is actually why I'm here. One of the reasons why I'm moving into this industry. Right? A lot of buzzwords here. We have all heard it. I'm only going to talk on 2 things. It's very hard to talk about blockchain and not talk about cryptocurrency. So I will touch a little bit on it, but the point here is still on blockchain. We are, after all, a blockchain company. Okay? To show you a little bit on crypto first, this was my first foray into Bitcoin. Okay? It was very slow, right? Now, I showed this because in my first presentation, I actually present on the future of risk management. Now, risk management is a very boring topic. It's a very important topic, but it's a very boring topic. So I put some things there that talked about Bitcoin, and I presented this future risk management in Shanghai and Guangzhou. That was with my old employer at that time, right? But I wanted to show you is the price of Bitcoin at that time, 4,328 in August of 2017, right? Ironically, the first person to ask me what is a Bitcoin was actually back in Q4 of 2016. That was the price then. I circled it just for illustration. I missed the whole run. And then I realized when I started doing the research for the presentation, is only when I realized that was the price. But look at the price going forward. I made the presentation, same presentation, future of risk management. Only difference was I changed the price, updated the price. The price went up 36% in these 2 months. That's how I got notice of Bitcoin. I'm not a favor of Bitcoin, okay? I'm just showing you what I saw, what I potentially missed, and why I'm here. Okay? So that's how I got interested. This very famous paper by this mysterious person called Satoshi Nakamoto wrote this white paper from 2008. That was the birth of Bitcoin. And here we are in 2018. So Bitcoin only existed for 10 years. So to those who, many of you who will say cryptocurrency experts or claim to be, I don't know. We're only in this industry for 10 years, right? So we are in the early stages, I would say, in this industry, if you are a believer, right? The research that my good assistant here has looked into, I said, give me some numbers. So he gave me these numbers, 835 billion, that's the size of the market cap peak back in January of this year, right? Now, what does that compare? That number is literally small in terms of comparison to the size of the dollar or fiat market, right? I want to give you a context. Remember just now I said that in 2008 was the scariest time of my life when Lehman crashed. I looked it up. Lehman at that time had $600 billion in assets when it actually filed for bankruptcy. 600 billion. Bitcoin is only 800 billion. What's a few billion, right? Okay. Bitcoin price, all-time high. It was that time in December. I questioned it. I thought it was 9,000 something, but it turned out to be there was a print of 20,000 plus, right? This just for interest. What I discovered, it was not just about Bitcoin. It was really about ICOs, right? The amazing thing of an alternative way of raising money. And we moved from the days of IPO, and then now we have ICOs, and then now we have venture capitalists. And the point I'm trying to illustrate here, again taken from this source, PitchBook, is the number of, in 2018, you're still seeing a lot of companies raising funds through ICOs, an alternative. Remember, why am I saying this? Again, you're talking about a banker here. Let me see. A banker here who has talked about ICOs, IPOs for 30 plus years. Suddenly, we move into ICOs, right? So, what do you want to talk about blockchain? Now, I'm going to, this, you will find it in the internet. I'm not a blockchain expert, but these are the 4 characteristics we just remember about blockchain, right? So, you can read it by yourselves, or you can just Google in the internet. Nothing special there, right? But the point that I get asked the most, even when I was working in Bank of America or when I'm here, is how do we use blockchain? What is it for, right? Is this buzzword? This is just an extract. Many more users. Don't try to hit solutions on blockchain, right? Rather, try to see what you can solve, and then is blockchain working for you? Not try to see blockchain and see how it fits in your organization. There's so much hyped about it already. But these are just some examples that we could show you, right? The key thing for me is still about blockchain and lifts the tokens, the cryptocurrencies that come about it, right? Which is what I'll talk about. I want to look more into the future. This is what I'm trying to position in this conversation or this discussion, okay? Utility tokens, we have seen a lot of this last year and this year. What you might already know is there are already probably 4,000 of the tokens out there, right? They are listed, some are dead. And like the internet.com days, at least I feel, a lot will die. Unfortunately, a lot will die. But like the internet as well, there came the birth of large companies like Facebook, Google and all that. So I believe the same will happen here. 4,000 of the coins, really? Do we need 4,000 of the coins? Probably the first 100 will live, or the first 200 will live, right? And from these are where the big companies will actually come out. So watch out on this space. The next phase, I believe, is security token. I suspect we'll see a lot more about this. I mean, there's regulations behind this. I won't touch on it. But I think that is the next phase. So the point I'm trying to make here, again, I emphasize this again. From a traditional banker perspective, I've been through 31 years talking about IPOs. I never know until the last 2 years, there's something called an ICO, right? And look at the size of what they have raised. This is block 1, EOS token, right? And you ask yourself, you start reading it, it's very exciting, but they do not have a real product yet, or at least not a working product yet. And they managed to raise 4 billion. Amazing amount, right? That's what I see again going to the future. STOs, securities token offerings. How many billions? Who knows? I see this as the way forward, right? Now, I put this slide intentionally just to give an illustration of what I mean. Again, I have a finance degree. When 30 years ago, when I studied finance, they told us that lend with collateral, right? They told us gold is valuable. Gold is something you dig from the ground. We cannot eat gold. But somebody said, years back, gold is of value, right? It happened to me until in 2008, when the crisis came and the bank were asking us for money because I did not know that a house is suddenly questionable as a collateral. The same point here. Gold, somebody said to us, gold is of value. Somebody is willing to give me cash, that's of value. So is Bitcoin of value, right? Bitcoin only lasted 10 years. There are a group of people who said they are willing to pay $6,000 for one, right? And that's, in my mind, has some value to some people. How big it is, no idea. It's 10 years. That's all we have. Who knows how many more years, what the price is. I also know it has limitations because the paper said so, right? The white paper said so. Same thing. Gold, we were told that limited supply. We can only dig out so much from the ground, right? So this is just for illustration to say, think widely, think openly, right? If you think gold is of value, maybe Bitcoin has some value as well, right? So what drives adoption of coins? I think the slide here is quite self-explanatory. It's training, education, learn about it. Accessibility is something we have problems today. You know, we have to fiddle around with private keys, wallets, a string of characters. It's so easy to lose. I cannot tell you how much I have lost myself, right? Just trying to figure out those keys. And I actually lost coins out there. Right? There is no reset of your password. You keep it well, and you will lose some coins, unfortunately, as you try to play around and understand this process. Of course, trust and custody is a real issue today, right? How do you trust that? There's no bank yet, right, that we are talking to that holds cryptos. There are a few potentially getting in. We are talking to them, and that's what makes this world very exciting. So when we have trust in a bank, there is custody. The last point I want to talk about here is my role here as the Chief Investment Officer. Okay, this is probably the most exciting time I have in my career. My first half was in securities. My second half was in banking. This is my third half, fund management and partnering with a tech firm. Why Pundi X? Pundi X, here are the list of achievements we have. If you have been to our booth, you will see our point of sale systems. Very similar to what you see today when somebody uses a Visa card and tap it on a merchant. The big difference for us, we use cryptos. Right? That's the big difference. We are arguably the only machine out there that works that well, 5 seconds in terms of speed, that has it on cryptos. Right? The second point here, we raised, remember the point I said just now about ICOs? We raised $35 million in 90 minutes. How fast was that, right, compared to the traditional IPO days, right? We had a second offering as well. We raised another 17 million. So we raised 52 million. Happy to say that. And not only that, look at our coin, NPX. It's traded in the exchange. 17 most liquid coin in the world. The top 50 in terms of market cap. It's a smaller market cap, it's probably about 200 million, but we are the top 50. Why do I believe in this company? Like I said, I only believe the top 100, 200 companies will survive, like the internet days. I believe this company will survive, right? Don't just believe me, believe the publications. We are very fortunate. Last month, top 100 fintech firms by KPMG. Trusted partner, right? Trusted who did some evaluation. We got the honors of the top 50 most innovative fintech company in the world. Very proud of that. Only last month. We are also proud that we announced that last month when Dubai actually has decided to go on a blockchain. They're going to create their own currency. They have worked with us. We have an MOU with them that we're going to supply the expos. So hopefully, in the next few years, when you go to buy, you will see our machines all over. That is the expos. I don't know if my colleague here has one. We can just wave it and show it, right? There, that's the one. Okay. Please feel free to come to our booth. Arguably, the only one in the world that takes crypto at the speed that we have, 5 seconds. Okay? We target to give 100,000 expos out there by 2021. There's already 5,000 out there in a few countries, right? Now, you're going to question me by saying, is this real? We prove it to be real. So last month, we went to Taiwan, did the Ultra Taiwan. It's a music festival, right? Old guys like me didn't even know what is Ultra. Then I found out, right, that it's really a music festival. In 2 days, we did 20 over transactions, 30 over 1,000 attendees. It worked. Worked beautifully, right? The only thing that didn't work was the rain. It was raining very hard, I think, the 2 days, right? But it worked very well. Again, this is another proof of case that it actually works. We are partnering with the Dubai government to produce their bespoke expos and then be able to use them. Don't, again, just take my word for it. Try it for yourself. We have partnered with 5 restaurants here in town, in Singapore, just for FinTech Week, right? Get 20% off your meal if you use cryptos. You don't have to just use our coin. Right? Of course, the most cool coin here is NPX, right? Needless to say, right? But you don't have to just use our coin, right? Use any of these 4, get your 20% off your meal, right? All these restaurants here in town, they will accept it, okay? The point here is not just about the 20%. We're trying to show you that please use crypto, use our machine as well. It works, right? The other cool thing we did was back in October last month, the 15th, we showed the world live on TV that we introduced our blockchain phone, right? Not just an ordinary phone, it's a regular phone. The only difference is it flips, okay? You see that? It flips. So you don't have to hold 2 phones, it's just the same phone. It flips from a smartphone to a blockchain phone, right? Now, somebody asked me, including my ex-boss just now who came by, and he asked me, why do you need a blockchain phone, right? So I said, blockchain is, you know about blockchain, right? I'm not going to have to explain blockchain, but I said, when you have a blockchain call with someone, everything is pre-recorded. The key difference with our phone is you do not need a telco. Today, when you make a phone call, you are going through a telephone company. On a blockchain, you don't need a telco, right? When you send a picture to someone, today you send a picture to WhatsApp. WhatsApp has your picture, Facebook has your picture, and probably the telephone company, right? But on the blockchain, when I send you a picture, I can control who you send it to or forward it to. So it's only you and me. Imagine the security and privacy you will have on a blockchain phone, right? That's in production, that's in Q2. But the key point I want to say here is we have shown the world that on live TV that we produced the first blockchain phone and made the first blockchain call. Function X is our blockchain. Again, goes live next year, Q2. Expose is already live. We will build more nodes on it. And again, our blockchain phone on there. Another question I always get, why do we need another chain? There's so many chains out there. What's special about your chain? The difference here is we produce hardware and nodes on the blockchain. That speeds it up. People will claim that theirs is faster, but we are going to prove it to you, ours is faster, because you're speeding it up by blocks as we produce nodes on the blockchain. So here I am, back in September. That's the CEO, Zach. Clearly much younger and more handsome and less overweight than me. And this is him with our CTO, and that's me with the CTO. Back last month, I was holding the blockchain phone. We showed that in Bali. So I joined them since August 27 this year. August 27 happened to be a Monday. My last day at the bank was August 26, Sunday. Okay. At a blockchain event we had, this is our premier event, our first event as well. So in my journey so far in Pundi X, I get to meet cool people. I get to dress like this. I've made hundreds of presentations in my career. This is one of the few times in my career I do not have to wear a tie, I do not have to wear a suit, making a presentation. So that's just me having fun with all these friends that I've learned here, I've got here. Presentation styles are different now. Like I said, these are real pictures. I presented in one of our bank forums that time. You see me in a suit and tie. I presented in Expo here in an AI summit about a year and a half ago, right? So all in suits and ties. Okay, the difference here, as you see here, but the type of presentations also differ. This I presented in a Lamborghini event in September, right? Look, so I've got to dress the part, right? Though I don't even own a Lamborghini, I got to dress the part, right? So that's me in these shoes, right? In these jeans, and again in no suits and ties, right? No suits and ties. So that's me before I joined. This is me now. Right? I have fans apparently now, right? In Telegram group, somebody sent me this. I thought it was pretty cute. It's a good Halloween picture. So before and after. So in summary, I leave it here to say it's an opportunity to create. Right? When I work for a bank, you follow certain rules. Here I follow rules, but it's so open. Opportunity to create. So we created not just tech, we created a fund. The fund will be launched within 2 weeks. I am now with my good colleague there who's sitting far left, fenchao, raise your hand maybe, right? He's the COO. We have created a fund, QEX Fund. I'm not here to promote the fund, but I want to tell you is that the fund is there. Fund management, because we saw lots of opportunities in private equity. We are a fund that combines securities and banking, which is my colleague there, fenchao and I, in securities banking and technology. There are not many out there that I know. You're either a tech firm or you're a fund manager. There is no combination of what we do here. So we created this, Quantum Energy Asset Management, QE, and X for Pundi X. That's where it came out with QEX Fund, right? What's the difference to QEX Fund? Again, experience, securities and banking. Over 40 years, fenchao and I combined. We have been through securities and banking for a long time. And we have also opportunities that, as I said, we are talking to a few tech firms already, getting a lot of insight in terms of purchasing equity. We're not looking for coins, we're looking for equity in these companies. We also have options to buy shares of Pundi X, private shares. They are not coins. The coins out there doesn't own anything, but these are shares. And like I said earlier, the company has 200 plus people, 100 plus alone are just tech people. This is the access we get to individuals when we when we start evaluating startups. So the chance is here. The opportunity is here. I like to end with this slide. I said the chance is here. Things are changing. Opportunity is here. Are you ready? With that, I say thank you. I was wondering if anybody had any questions. Yes. Please.
So most of your presentation, you were talking to us about security coins, and is there a reason why you only invest in equity of these blockchain companies?
Good question. The question is about security coins. Why do I invest in equity instead of security coins, right? Good question. There are not many security coins out there yet. So we're still going through, the world is still going through the process of investing in equity in this type of companies yet. So one day, hopefully next year, I will feel that the next evolve will be security tokens, right? And maybe that makes it easier for people to buy. I think it will, but it's a process I believe we have to go through. It started with utility coins, but utility coins, you don't really own the equity of the company. It's a used coin. It's a transaction type coin. And security coins is, I believe, is the next wave. So can you imagine, if I'll extend your question a little bit more, can you imagine where I live in a world, traditional world, 30 years of IPOs. We have investment bankers out there. When they do a investment banking deal with you, they will go through all this paperwork. The paperwork will still exist, and then they list the company. A long process. And today we're going to move into something called security coins. It will have a challenge, right, to that group of people. So people will change. But it also creates opportunities. I hope that answers part of your question.
One follow-up question. So are you investing in equity of companies that issue security tokens, or what's your investment mandate for your fund?
Thank you for the question. What's our investment mandate? The fund itself is investing 70% in private equity companies. The private equity of the companies could mean tech companies that issue coins or just be tech companies. The idea is we are looking for yield, but we are also looking at companies that actually gives us the ecosystem. So if a company produces something for us when we build our ecosystem of the blockchain, we love to partner with them. So we could buy equity stakes in them as well. Right? It doesn't mean, I mean, a lot of companies here, at least I don't know many here around this world, that have security tokens yet. Right? But the idea is to have that available probably, hopefully in the next year or two. I could see regulations coming. But in the meantime, you're not going to wait. We'll still be looking for companies holding equity in these startups. We have, the opportunity is here with us because we have a large group of tech firms, tech folks who work with us to be able to assess these companies. But thank you for the question. Anybody else have questions?
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
2017 was a great year for blockchain and crypto.
Right.
2018, perhaps a little bit different.
Right.
2019, my question is, what does your crystal ball tell you and why? What do you think the world will be like? What will we experience then?
Wow. It's a good question. I wish I knew, but I'll give you a view. right? I clearly see lots of opportunities going forward. That's why I changed to this industry, right? Timing is something very hard to gauge, but I can only see upward movement from here. Things will change, right? I believe in something called structural changes, right? Versus something called cyclical. I didn't create this, somebody actually told me. Cyclical is like interest rates, things move, right? Property is an example of cyclical. There's ups and downs. Interest rates is cycle. But structural means something has changed and we never go back. We never go back to mobile phones already. Everybody's on a smartphone, as an example. That's why Nokia happened that way, right? So my view here, again, going to 2019, is I see potentially security tokens. I potentially see more tokens, quality tokens. I could see more companies working with blockchain, like us. The problem today is with coins and all that, it's not so accessible. Right? You have to figure out with wallets and figure out with addresses and all that. But as we speak, we are making things easier. Not just us, a lot of people making things easier. There are wallets out there. We created Expos is for the ease of use. You just tap on it. Like your Visa today, you just tap on the machine. Same thing here, you just tap on it. The only difference is crypto, right? So that is what I see going forward. So there will be lots of positive views there. I see you got wild calls in terms of Bitcoin and prices of where it's going. I don't believe it, right? It's too much hype. I also don't believe in technical analysis on coins, right? People keep trying to do things like that. But I can see, I don't know when, but I can see that this industry can only grow. I hope I've convinced you because I made one point earlier. Gold versus coins, right? 10 years of Bitcoin. It's only, I think it's about 150 billion today. That's all it is, right? I don't think you go back to zero. I think, again, you only have a lot of room to grow. That's my view. So it will have an impact on cashless society. It will have an impact on banking. It does not replace banking. Thank you. Yes.
Now, the inconvenient truth is that you mentioned and focusing on the security token, but you did not enlighten us why is it others are not moving into it, because regulatory, landmine and prerequisition and so on. So how do you devise your own interpretation that you say that you believe in creation of security token, but without the basis of the legitimacy of such initiation, if the regulators are themselves not bending that prerequisite requirement? So how do you overcome that locally as well as regionally and internationally? Thanks.
It's a very good question. Thank you for that question. Again, I'm giving you a view. I know and believe strongly the world is making things more efficient. Because if you're not efficient, die. You don't grow, you die, right? So the world is making things more efficient. Do you want to live in the old world where there is script? To own a company, you have script, pieces of paper, right? If there is an offering today, people want to move towards that, security tokens, and to own a company or own dividends in a company that produces dividends or anything like that, then I believe that's the next wave. People are talking about it, and then when people talk about it, regulators and will have to respond to it. I cannot speak on behalf of the regulator, but if people are wanting something, and the idea is to be more efficient, it only makes sense for me that you put proper rules there to make sure the investing public is protected. So that's why my belief. I'm not going to say that it's going to wave up like utility coins. 4,000 coins all of a sudden in a year plus, right? That's because it's unregulated. The regulators have said that they are not going to regulate utility coins. But having said that, there's still people who, I mean, it's a market cap of 300 billion today. Some people want it, right? And there's still no rules. There are a lot of scams in this field. Right? A lot of hacking, a lot of scams as well. So in my mind, I believe that's where it's going to go, right? Simply because people wanted more transparency, more regulations, more safety with that. And I see that will slowly evolve into that area. I hope that answers some of your questions.
That didn't answer the question at all, because the question is that perspective of regulators, because those they consider untouchable. Unless you say there is, recipe there, you say that they say that if you can comply to do these A to Z prerequisite, we don't mind to grant you or not to go against you. But if you don't set the standard that you say that we are going to achieve and having what it's in mind, that is to say, look at MAS, just give you a simple reference, what they contradict themselves. The Singapore government issued 99.9% paper check, not digital check. So they contradict themselves 100% of not really moving to reality of tomorrow's world. And we call ourselves smart nation. We are under internet control, VPN control, and all kind of control. And you call it a smart nation without an EA to call a smart nation. So how do you reconcile with that?
I don't really want to comment there, to be frank, because I'm sitting in Singapore. They might throw me in jail, right? But the point here is this: smart compared to what? Smart compared to who? That's what you want to be asking yourselves and every one of us. I say this to my son. I share this with you all, but this is a real conversation with my son. I said, son, you only have to be better than me, and you'll be okay. Right? My son is 17 years old. Right? Why am I saying that when you say smart compared to what? He doesn't need to be smarter than me. I'm okay. I'm not super rich, but I'm okay. If my son is better than me, he should be okay. So the same thing here. We just want generations to progress, to be more efficient, to have better, to more comfort in life, right? And that's what I feel. So that's the process you have to go through, right? In the same point of coins, 2 years ago, I never knew there was such thing called utility coins. Today we are talking about stable coins, we're talking about security coins. It's there. My point is the same. Structural move, it's there. Are you going to miss it, or are you going to be a participant in it? That's the key thing I would say. Watch out for it. I'm not a big fan, okay? My comments are not meant to be a big fan. But I know one thing that I'm fairly sure about. When changes happen, you better be sure that you're ready for it. Change or be changed by change. I hope that answers some of your question. I don't want to debate about whether that's a right move, but I hope that answers some of your questions. Okay, I think my time's up. I want to say thank you to all of you.